United States Championship Elimination Chamber match. I will say it's really interesting and cool that recently in WWE they have really put more importance on these middle titles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got Gunther on one side who has got the Intercontinental Championship and doing great work with that, and then this title is so important. You're going to have an Elimination Chamber match with, you know, an established name in Seth Rollins, and then really 5 people for different reasons that, you know, might be using this match to kind of get more footing on the main roster. Is that how you saw it when you saw who was in this match?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that it was the Eddie Kingston Jay White match was the opposite of what a match we're talking about today, and it's this one. You know, you have one guy in there, and again, talking about Natalia with Seth Rollins, he was the straw. He was the guy to stir the drink, right? And he's got so much equity built up. He has been on television for 10 years now, maybe over 10 years now, and you know, he's been a multi-time world champion. He's a huge star. He is over, you know, he's over now. And his character now is something I've never seen him do before. This is, it's great. It's great.
And the fans are loving it. The fans are loving
Yeah, they
this
were
guy. Singing
along with him. But now you've got, you know, let's see, Montez, who, you know, last I watched was in Street Profits. Johnny Gargano, Jonah, right? That's his name, right? Jonah. Yeah.
Yeah. They call him Bronson Reed.
Oh, okay. Bronson Reed.
But it is Jonah from New Japan Pro Wrestling who got a win over Okada before he left.
Right. Yeah. They sent you out on a take that out because I don't know what I was going to say there. But yes, okay. So Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Austin Theory, right? So all these other guys that are surrounding Seth, again, who's the straw, they are not over yet. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that trying to disparage them, you know. I'm saying that they're not over yet. People like a lot of the fans and a lot of wrestlers too, not just fans, they like to equate reactions to the moves as them being over. That's not the case, man. When you make people feel a certain way, that's when you're over. So I watched this match, and if you look at it, you know, you loved the match. You told me that you loved the match. I watched the match, and you know, watching it, sitting back and watching it, it was a good, fun, athletic type match. I thought it was, you know, everybody, you know, got to shine in their athleticism. But these other guys outside of Seth are still trying to get over. And so one thing I told you was every single move I seen from these guys was a duck it was a counter into a duck, into a slip behind through the legs, and they finally hit their offensive move, right? That's, to me, if you're trying to get over, that's not the way to go about it. When you're trying to get over, grab the motherfucker by the trunks, pull him into the move, and hit your fucking move right then and there. That's how you get the stuff over. And then eventually down the road, when it's over and when you're starting to get over, then people could start countering it. But every single thing I saw someone, you know, they would come in from the pod and it would, you know, they do this bump around for a little bit. And then there was a duck, a hook, an over the head into a power bomb, and he lands on his feet, duck hook, and then the move, you know, or something into the go behind, into jumping on his shoulder, into getting the doomsday device, which flipped him over into a poison Rana gimmick thing.
Right.
And so it's like everything was there. There weren't any, I'm sure there were, but more often than not, the moves that were hit came defensively instead of coming offensively. And when that happens, to me, it starts to look more like a performance than a contest, if that makes sense. And I could just be staying on my soapbox and yelling at the clouds, but you know, I'm not saying that anything those guys did was bad. The only thing I thought was bad was Montez Ford hit about 30 suckets. Then he tried a people's elbow. Then he hit the rock bottom. So
he seemed very excited to be there, didn't he?
Yes. So maybe I would kind of take that out of my arsenal. But, you know, watching, no one did anything bad. You know, everything looked good. and the match was fun. And it was an exciting match. But, I think maybe Montez did get a little bit of shine, and kind of maybe broke out of his tag team performance there. But other than that, like, no one else did except for Seth and Austin Theory, because Austin Theory won. It seems like people hate Austin Theory too. So that's good for him.
Well, Austin was the ex-chairman's favorite on screen before last year, and then he really had to kind of reclaim himself literally on screen as kind of this number one, trying to be a number one guy. The rumor is he's facing Cena at WrestleMania.
Whoa.
What do you think about Austin Theory, what you've seen?
Wow. Well, this is the only match I've seen of him. And, I really didn't I don't think I got a good grasp of who he was for me to accurately tell you what I think. I'd have to watch more.
But if you were scouting him as a prospect, what would you think of?
Well, he's pretty young too, right? He's like 20 something.
He's very young, like maybe 25, 24. Like he's young.
Jesus. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Someone who looks like that and is that young, that athletic, for sure. And already has that much heat. Yeah, you got to have him on your team. I can't, like I said, I can't accurately tell you what I think of his work because I haven't seen enough of it. But if the office is planning on putting him in a match with Cena, then Cena must think highly of him, because Cena's not going to do something he doesn't want to do.
Right.
The office must think highly of him because they're putting him in there with one of the biggest stars of all time. And
he's 25.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy, dude.
He's got poise for 25. Don't you think? Does that make you look at him a little differently when you go, oh shit, he's so young?
Well, no, I don't. I don't have an accurate look at him. I don't have an accurate feeling about him yet. But thinking he's 25 years old, that means he was 6 years old when I started wrestling. That is crazy. Yeah, like I told you, I'd have him on my team. If it were me, I'd for sure, he'd be the first person I said, you're with me. But look, the match was fun. The match was good. I just think that we as wrestlers need to scale back this hitting things out of nowhere all the time. Like if Randy, because we're talking about hitting out of nowhere, if Randy hit the RKO out of nowhere at the beginning of his career, right, then it wouldn't have got over as much, or it would have taken way longer to get over. Instead, he would snatch a motherfucker up, hook him here for a second, then jump up and hit it. Boom. And then after he did that every single week on television for a year or two, then people started countering or whatever, or then it would come out of nowhere because people would know then what it was. They knew, oh, that's the RKO, he hit it, because they'd seen it for so long every single week. And you've got to pound that to people's heads. So that's my little criticism of the match, is to make, and just for wrestlers in general, make your offensive stuff, make it offensive. Then when it all gets over, and when you get over, then people can start countering. But if people start countering on day one, right? If they start countering your stuff on day one, what's going to happen when you're in the main event, on day 101, and someone counters it? Oh, well, I seen it in the first match. You got countered too. So really not that special now.